What's up, everybody? How you doing? I am the big dog named Austin, and we've got a great weekend of NFL divisional round football. Let's get into it. Saturday to open us up. Saturday, 4:30 p.m. The 4-seed Houston Texans, led by their rookie C.J. Stroud, going into the 1-seeded Baltimore Ravens, coming off of a bye. The Baltimore Ravens coming into this game a 9-point favorite. I think that's a little big. I think that's a little too much. Look, I've seen it too many times as a Colts fan. I've seen it time and time again. You rest your starters in the last week of the regular season, and then you have a bye week, and then you come out rusty. I think that the Ravens are too seasoned for that. I think that they have a good veteran presence. They have a good coach in John Harbaugh, a veteran quarterback, potentially a two-time MVP quarterback in Lamar Jackson. And I think that this is their year. I really do. But watch out for the Texans, man. The Texans absolutely lit it up against, I forgot who they played. Of course, the Texans Browns. They absolutely lit it up against the Cleveland Browns and that defense. And I think that says something, man. But the Ravens, they get after the quarterback. You got to get after C.J. Stroud. I think the Ravens led the league in sacks. The Ravens this week, as of today, which is Wednesday, January 17th, 2024, Mark Andrews was full participant in practice today. So him coming back, that could be huge. Now, this means absolutely nothing, but I'm going to go over this anyway because I like this. The previous matchup, week 1 of the regular season, C.J. Stroud's very first game as a rookie, 25-9, the Ravens won that one. Means absolutely nothing. Means absolutely nothing. You can throw all that away. You could throw the Ravens 13-4, league best 13-4 record away. You could throw all that away. What matters is this Saturday. And I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, I'm really having a hard time. I've picked against the Texans the last 2 weeks in a row. Against the Colts and against the Browns. And it's bit me in the ass twice in a row now. But, I mean, it's the Baltimore Ravens, and it's at Baltimore. The only thing is if Baltimore comes out flat. If Baltimore comes out flat, the Houston Texans jump on the Ravens, it's game over. But if the Ravens, play the way they've been playing all season long, it's going to be the Ravens. And I'm going to go ahead and pick the Ravens. I don't think that they're going to cover the 9-point spread. So if you're betting, take the Texans plus 9. But I think it's going to be a lot closer than that. But yeah, give me the Ravens in that matchup. Then we move on to the second game, 8:15 on Saturday. The 7-seeded Packers, the Green Bay Packers. They're 9-8. They're coming off of a upset win. The first 7 seed to beat a 2 seed since that came into place whenever it came into place. They're traveling to San Francisco to play the 49ers, who are 12-5. They're the number 1 seed in the NFC. They also have a 9-point spread on this game. The 49ers are favored by 9. I'm a little surprised by this, a little less surprised than I was about the previous game. But this one, I feel like it'll be a lot closer than that. How much do you trust Brock Purdy? Look, a lot of people don't believe in him. But the stats say this: 4,280 yards, 31 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. He can simply get it done. And he's got weapons. He's got Christian McCaffrey, who had 1,459 yards, 14 touchdowns on the ground, 67 catches, 564 yards, and 7 touchdowns through the air. That's incredible. Christian McCaffrey very well could be the MVP. If Lamar Jackson didn't have the year that Lamar Jackson had, I think Christian McCaffrey would have a really good shot at winning the MVP. Then we move on to George Kittle. Let's move on to Brandon Ayuk, who led the team in yards, 75 catches, 1,342 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Another 1,000-yard receiver. Only he's a tight end. George Kittle, 65 catches, 1,020 yards, 6 touchdowns. Deebo Samuel, 60 catches, 892 yards, 7 touchdowns. Who do you guard? Who do you cover? This is one of those games where the Packers defense is playing really well. And the Packers offense is also playing really well. And the San Francisco 49ers have a really good defense as well. They're the number 1 seed for a reason. They've got a really good pass rush. And Nick Bosa, man, they can really get after the quarterback. I have a hard time picking against the Packers because the Packers really impressed me last week, but it's going to happen. I'm picking the San Francisco 49ers in this game. I don't think that they win by 9. I think it's probably closer to a 4-point game. I think it'll be a pretty close game. I hope that all these games are pretty close. Last week we had, 5 out of the 6 games were blowouts. So I'm hoping for a lot closer games this week. But let's move on to Sunday, the final day of Divisional Round weekend. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the 4-seeded Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Nobody believed in them. They won the division by default. They won it because they're in the NFC South. But they won a playoff game against the Philadelphia Eagles. What's going on with the Eagles? Nobody knows. Jason Kelce, he might retire. I think this might be the end of the Eagles. I really, really do think it might be the end of the Eagles. But they're going into frigid, cold Detroit at Ford Field to play the Detroit Lions. They are the 3 seed. They are favored by 6.5. I like this line a little better than the other 2 lines. In Week 6, the Lions beat them 20-6 at Tampa Bay. When the Detroit Lions are at home, Jared Goff is a lot better of a quarterback. This is going to be just as exciting of an atmosphere as last week. A chance to go to the NFC Championship game on the line. You got to be kidding me. Detroit's going to be bumping, so I'm excited for this game. I can't wait I'm not going to be able to watch it unless we get off early on Sunday. I could take a half day. Do I walk into my boss's office and be like, hey, can I have a half day on Sunday? He looks at me like, you've been taking off a lot of unpaid time off. I know, man. I just like watching football, Yeah, I want to watch this game, but I'll probably leave it alone, That game starts at 3. I'll be able to catch the tail end of it. I'm rooting for the Lions. I'm not gonna lie. I've kind of adopted the Lions as my team in the playoffs. Like I'm kind of like low key rooting for them. I'm not getting up and down, shouting on my TV for them. I'm just like, okay, congratulations, Lions. I'm happy for the Lions winning the playoff game, and I think they get 2. I think they win this game. But isn't it weird that you can potentially have the Detroit Lions in the NFC Championship game or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the NFC Championship game? Either one of those scenarios is wild to me. But let's move on to the potential game of the weekend. This has been probably the hottest rivalry in the NFL since 2020. When did these two cats start playing in the playoffs with Mahomes and Josh Allen? The Chiefs and the Bills, dude. This game, this series, this rivalry has been one of the greats. Like, this will go down as one of the greatest rivalries of all time. And there have been countless close games. These two teams played in Week 16. I think it was Week 16. Week 14, maybe. And you all know, the Bills came away with the win after Kadarius Toney lined up off sides and, messed up that whole giant, big, great play, which was incredible. Which was an incredible play. That score ended up being 20-17. That game absolutely mattered because both of these teams are 11-6. And the winner of that game got home field advantage. The 2-seeded Buffalo Bills and the 3-seeded Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes will go on the road for the first time in the playoffs in his career. And I can't wait. Sunday at 6:30 p.m. I'm in my seat watching this one. This one is going to be the good one. The best game of the week. The Bills are favored by 3 points. I think I said this about the Ravens. This is the Ravens year. But you look at the Bills. Those two teams could really I got the Bills in this one. I think the Buffalo Bills are going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs in Buffalo. I think being in Buffalo is going to be huge. I think, like I said with the Lions, with a chance to go, you're at home with a chance to go to an AFC Championship game. Your crowd's going to be rocking. Like you haven't had this opportunity with Kansas City. You've been playing in Arrowhead. And now you've got them in your own stadium. And I can attest to this as a Colts fan. Back in the early 2000s when the Colts kept playing in Foxborough. And couldn't get it done. But finally, the Colts, they beat them in Foxborough that same season. Just like the Bills did. Then they hosted the Patriots. And then that's the game, the AFC Championship game that everybody remembers, the Marlon Jackson, and the Colts went to the Super Bowl and went on to win the Super Bowl. That's kind of how I feel about the Bills right now, is they finally got that over the Chiefs in the regular season, and I feel like they're going to use that to elevate themselves to win this game. Now, I don't want to get too into this because let's not get too ahead of ourselves and let's let the playoffs. But Bills and Ravens, man, I've been all over the Ravens, and as of recently, because the Bills were dead. Well, let's say it how it was. The Bills were not gonna be in the playoffs, and then they just flipped the switch. They've won, and they are battle tested because I think it was said in one of the broadcasts somewhere. Every game they've been playing for the last 2 months have been playoff games because they cannot lose. Every game has been must win, so they're battle tested. So the Bills, I think they're rolling. I mean, the fact that they played really, pretty solid last week. I don't want to say awesome, but they played pretty well last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It is a tough Steelers team. It is the playoffs. You're not going to play perfect, but they're rolling. Like I really think that if the Bills made it out of the AFC, I would not be surprised. I would not be. But I think that the Bills are one of the hottest teams in the league. It's going to be really tough if and when they play the Ravens. But that's what the playoffs are for, baby. That's why we play them. That's because you want the best versus the best, and you get that. So those are my predictions. I've got all the home teams. Look at that. All the home teams, no away teams win. I might pick an away team next week if it goes the exact same way I thought it would go. I might pick an away team next week. But that's all I got. It's divisional round weekend. Let's enjoy this. My wife, she's like, how many games are left? I was like, all right. You got 4 this weekend. You've got 2 next weekend. And 2 weeks from then, you've got 1. So you've got 7 games of football left. That's it. So let's enjoy every single game as much as you can. If you have to work till 5:30 on Sunday and you can't watch the first 2.5 hours of Buccaneers Lions, then it is what it is. But enjoy what you can. This is football. We all love football. It's the greatest sport on earth. There's some incredible games this weekend, and I absolutely cannot wait. So with that being said, this time next year the Colts are going to be playing Anthony Richardson, just throwing nukes, throwing touchdowns. He's going to be playing. We're going to be talking about the Colts being in the playoffs next year. I miss this feeling of being in the playoffs. You guys enjoy it. All you in the playoffs, all the 8 teams remaining. Got them right there. But that's all I got. I am the big dog named Austin. Hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy the playoff action. And as always, go Colts.